United States, Britain, Malaysia and Germany. There's comparatively little investor interest from wealthy Middle Eastern nations. In the oil-rich Gulf, royal families are more than rulers. Sheikhs, kings and princes are also the driving force behind big business. So why aren't they coming here to invest?
Firstly, it would not be that easy to get to see the appropriate person, be it a sheikh or prince. The second thing that you find is that the whole range of people below that are the advisors and making decisions, but you don't know who's making the decision. So you could spend a year networking for a particular project and be nowhere closer to where you were from when you started. So it's important for us to begin to develop what we call non-traditional markets. And clearly that whole area, Bahrain, Kuwait, Dubai, these are places that we need to begin to focus. One, because they're cash flush. Two, they're investing all over the world. They were all in IT stocks. They've all taken a beating. They must be saying, where are the other opportunities?
One sheikh did see an investment opportunity in South Africa. It came in the form of a car. The Rotrax El Macho vehicle. It's tough, it's easy to drive, can handle just about any kind of terrain. And it's affordable. In short, El Macho is the ideal car for any off-road adventurer. The first time Enrico Bernard saw this vehicle, it was being advertised in a kit car magazine. He liked the look of it, saw its potential, and obtained the rights to manufacture it in South Africa.
And I believe I saw a gap that it could be a vehicle that, if put into production, could be an everyday vehicle for people who cannot afford the luxury of a new 4x4.
Enrico also adapted the Rotrax vehicle for military use.
It could be slung under helicopters, it could be easily deployed. We had a 160-litre fuel tank, which gave it range and capability, which I would say outshined most of the competition at that stage. I believe we were the first vehicle manufacturers with a tube frame chassis to pass international crash standards. We did all the testing necessary, brake tests, chassis tests, seatbelt testing. And during that phase, we had to, of course, change a lot of design. In fact, virtually every tube on the chassis was changed. The vehicle was lengthened. And we've come up with a totally new concept.
Enrico fine-tuned the Rotrax vehicle for difficult desert terrain. So when he came to market it in the mid-90s, he came to the obvious place, the Middle East. Enrico put El Macho on show. He took a demo model to the International Armaments and Defense Exhibition in Dubai.
We never expected the response we got. The inquiries we had came from all over, from Kuwait, Singapore, Saudi Arabia.
A special force commander bought the demo model and placed a provisional order for 150 of them. All Enrico needed to do was to raise the finance for their manufacture. In Bahrain, he met a man who could help him with that. A sheikh with a passion for cars. Meet Sheikh Mohammed Al Fawaz bin Abdullah Al Khalifa. Sheikh Fawaz for short.
I love cars. If you love something, you will give him your time, your power, your everything.
Sheikh Fawaz is a member of the ruling family of Bahrain. He's also a businessman. The Al Fawaz Group has investments throughout the Gulf and Europe. They include finance houses, timeshare resorts and factories. But still missing from the Sheikh's portfolio is a motor manufacturing plant.
I dream to have this factory. I dream to have car exclusive only for myself. We will design it only for me, only one in the world.
Did you have a vision of where this project would go to, where it would end?
If you start a business or you think about a business, you have to think big things. I'm thinking to have this in all the world.
The man who negotiated the deal with Enrico was the Sheikh's business manager, Ghassan Dinawi. They had big plans for Rotrax.
This is like a snowball. Now, you start with the manufacturing, a small manufacturing plant, and then you start setting up for other plants which provide other parts for the car, and then there you go and you really grow a car manufacturing industry in the UAE.
Sheikh Fawaz is said to run $50 million worth of investments in Dubai alone. And this is where he wanted to start manufacturing the Rotrax vehicles. But Enrico wanted the project to stay in South Africa.
It's my backyard. I've been there my whole life, and picking up a telephone, I can get to most companies or people or testing institutions. And my suppliers, Dubai at this stage still doesn't have the infrastructure to support a big project we had envisaged in the motor manufacturing business.
They told me we have to do it in South Africa, and I agreed with this. You know why? We have to give the car nationality. The man who designed the car, he's from South Africa, and he have the structure there.
The Sheikh would invest an initial $6 million in the Rotrax project. Over the next 6 years, they plan to build 8 plants worldwide. The deal was expected to create employment for about 1,000 South Africans and attract around 300 million rands worth of foreign direct investment. The deal was structured so that the Sheikh would invest $6 million at a South African bank, and Rotrax would use the interest to build the manufacturing plants. But the Sheikh insisted on a guarantee from the bank to ensure that his capital investment was safe. The deal really hinged on this letter from the bank.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, Al Fawaz Group did not have what it has right now, or what it have right now, out of putting their money left and right without knowing that their capital is secure.
That assurance had to come from an internationally recognized AAA-rated bank. Enrico's financial advisor approached ABSA for the guarantee.
When we talked to our bank about ABSA Bank, our bank said, this is very good bank. It's a big bank in South Africa. You can trust them.
Meanwhile, ABSA needed to ensure that Enrico and the business deal were legit. Enrico says that after 3 months and a lot of paperwork, ABSA issued the letter that would make or break the deal. It stated that the bank would guarantee a fixed deposit on an amount of $6 million at an agreed-upon interest rate.
It will give me 100% my guarantee. It is enough for me if I have a bank guarantee from a bank will guarantee my capital there. It's more than enough for me.
Watching from the sidelines was one of the Sheikh's closest friends. Dr. Faisal Abdul Gadir is a United Nations ambassador who's been working in Bahrain for the past 5 years.
I remember when he got the bank guarantee, first thing he called me in the mobile, and I was traveling, I think. He told me, Faisal, I told you I'm going to do it. I said, really? I said, yeah, I got the bank guarantee, and we were really very happy about that.
Then things began to go wrong.
The day after we had departed for Bahrain, ABSA got an urgent interdict against the financial advisor, asking him to return all form of documentation that had supplied him. It's called financial advisor agent, was told that the bank manager concerned didn't have the authority to sign the document. I believe that it was just a matter of taking the document back and changing maybe the format or putting the correct signature or maybe whatever the bank believed necessary at that stage on it and carry on with the deal.
However, Enrico says the bank wasn't prepared to negotiate and demanded he return the letter. ABSA argued that if it got into the wrong hands, the document could be used to commit fraud. In the meantime, ABSA lawyers had been in touch with the Emirates Bank in Dubai. They told the Sheikh's bank manager to disregard the letter, as it had been issued under irregular circumstances.
This is exact words of my bank officer. He says, you cannot deal with this company because their bank saying that this letter is fraudulent.
I was shocked. Very bad for me, and even for my reputation with the bank. Now they have question mark, and this is very bad for me.
You know, the psychological loss of your reputation, people start to tell you you are involved in a fraud, and this is what is killing him. It's killing him, yeah.
Enrico could have saved himself a lengthy court battle as well as a lot of time and money if he'd simply handed back the letter. But Enrico says this is something that he couldn't do.
The point of going through the legal battle again to prove your innocence in this case was more important.
Although Absa never directly accused Enrico of fraud, his lawyer, Judy Wilkins, says it was implied. On what grounds did they say that fraud was involved?
They didn't say that fraud was involved. They said that fraud could be used in this circumstance. This particular letter, though, was addressed to a specific person, the Emirates Bank, not to whom it may concern, a particular party, on behalf of Rotrax CAR International, not anybody. So my question is, who could have misused it?
Now, did they implicate Enrico or Enrico and the Sheikh?
The Sheikh entered into an agreement with Rico, and the group was called the Alpha Waz Group. So the group was implicated.
Absa's competent legal team again went all out to discredit the financial advisor, my company, and as they said in court, the alleged Alpha Waz Group, which they still don't believe exists today.
Carte Blanche asked Absa for an interview. We wanted to know why the big deal about a letter. We had questions about Louis Coetzee, the bank's relationship manager who signed the document. If he'd acted beyond his authority, we were curious as to why Absa didn't rectify the error and possibly save a deal worth millions of dollars in foreign investment. After several faxes and phone calls, Absa management agreed to meet us. We could film part of that discussion as long as we didn't record sound. By the end of the hour-long meeting, Absa still wouldn't discuss specifics about the case on camera. The bank has said that the matter had already been through the courts and that a retrial through the media wouldn't serve any purpose. They were prepared to talk about the procedures that would-be investors should follow and related issues. But since we wouldn't be allowed to ask any specific questions about Enrico's case, we declined the offer. The court ordered Enrico to return the letter. The judge agreed with Absa, saying the document could have created impressions, confusions, and detrimental results as far as Absa was concerned, and that Absa had acted within its rights to withdraw the offer contained in the document. But you were eventually forced by the courts to give it back.
Under an agreement that they would make a finding that there was no fraud on the company's behalf or mine by any implication whatsoever. The issue was, to me, to make sure that Sheikh Fawaz understood we had no other intentions other than being above board with him.
Despite this, Sheikh Fawaz isn't prepared to do business.
You know, this is big business. It is $6 million. And my bank said, if you send it there, that's it, it will go.
But the bank has said that simply the man who signed that letter wasn't authorized.
Who's this a problem? It's my problem. I don't know the man. This is bank letterhead, it's bank guarantee, and the man, he is in the bank. He is working in the bank. He's not one of anyone in the road. He is in the bank. I'm sorry to say this. There's very, very, very big question mark about South Africa and business.
You wouldn't do business at all?
No.
And has that influenced...
Not me only. I talk to my family, I talk to my friends.
In Bahrain, talk isn't cheap. For centuries, men have gathered in the royal courts. Here they socialize, philosophize, and talk business. So when a deal goes sour, word gets around.
When I am talking about this, they will listen to me.
This kind of thing does have an impact.